Hi, it's Grandma. Just calling to see how you were doing and let you know that I miss you. And I'll be glad if we see each other soon. And I'm just hanging around. So I love you.
You know, Miss Dixie was is one of a kind, and it's pretty cool that you have her blood in your veins, my dear.
I agree.
Because she was spicy and full of spunk and energy and attitude.
She's my grandma, but she's also just my favorite person in the whole world. She's always been my favorite person in the whole world.
Two people came out of the sauna, and Panna said, "Nancy, this is Dixie Lubin." And I looked at her and I said, "I'm so glad to see you." And she said, "Well, now you're seeing all of me." She was completely naked, of course.
She really did an amazing job of cultivating this like deep love of art and music. I mean, my dad did too, but my mom did in a different way.
She gifted me with her free spirit and her love of making art and her love of cooking great food and her nurturing of basically everybody that she came in contact with.
She was pretty open, and I think that helped other people be more open.
One thing she did, which very few people would do, would say, I'm proud of what you're doing. People don't usually stop and say, you know, this is a good thing, you're doing good things. And she had so many friends. She really connected with people.
I always knew about Dixie Lubin, and she was always kind of this mystery to me, and I was sort of like in awe of her, and I I sort of like, I don't know if I was afraid of her or whatever, but I just thought she was like this amazing person, and like that.
We were in love. We really were.
Yeah.
We consider ourselves lovers, but not sexual.
Yeah.
Just some other kind, you know?
Yeah.
I'd never had a relationship like that. And we didn't really know each other too well until the late 80s. We decided to start a school, but we had to find a teacher. And there were several possibilities. All of us were just, kind of the parents were together and we're just kind of brainstorming, trying to think of a teacher. Somebody brought up Dixie. People were just wowed by her. She was just such a compassionate, creative teacher, and she taught art, a whole lot of art.
I just think about other times like her kind of taking my daughter and I literally under her wing and going to her house and sitting at the kitchen table making the little tiny shinies and mixed media collage, which I just thought was cool as hell. Or digging through her her studio, which was always in a stage of disarray, but also so cool. Like you could just look at it and look at things forever. So this is the last time we sat and did a mixed media collage. We rummaged through her studio, and these are, I'm literally probably pictures from magazine from the 60s or 70s, and they're so old. But this is one that I made. We sat and a really old piece of just something that she had.
Yeah.
One of Dixie's pieces, which I really love. And this is another one. This is one of my favorites.
Her writing was always, always inspirational. When she would read it, you just go, oh, that is amazing and beautiful and exciting.
When she began to write poetry, I've been writing poetry for years, but I never shared it with anyone. And so I began to share it with her, and she encouraged that. And so I began to write more and more.
Dixie, her poetry was just like over the top as far as I was concerned. So we started doing this writing group together. And then one day she was talking to Louis Gallagher, who is another poet in the group, also a phenomenal poet. And she was kind of over on the side talking, and they were talking about like witchcraft. And I was like, oh, sorry.
It's okay.
And I was like, what? Like, huh? Like that. And so they invited me to come to a circle. That was just life changing for me, because I've always been more, connected to more of a pagan way of understanding spirituality and so forth.
She influenced my spirituality a lot and still really has, even into old age, and helping me kind of have a framework to understand the universe and how everything works within it, or like a way to look at it, I guess.
She was just so feminine and able to connect with other feminine energies and just create such a beautiful energy. And she had a goddess group that she invited us to, and those are some of my best memories as a kid. And I think without that group I would not be the person I am today. It taught me a lot about the need for women to be together. I think she is just an example of an extremely unique person. She cared about the people she cared about a lot. And the fact that she has Alzheimer's really changed her personality, but she still has a underlying goodness. She's never been mean. She's anxious, but she's never been mean. She's always been loving, and that's something that's remained really special.
It's hard to relate to Dixie by now. I did see her the last Christmas, I don't think she really maybe remembered me, but the one before, or Thanksgiving, she'd come up and talk to me. But she did remember me. It's really heartbreaking and painful.
And
Yeah.
I have got to say, our relationship has changed because last time I was there, she said, do I know you? And I said, yes, you do.
I started noticing some things where she's like, did you see my book? Did I give you a book? And I'm like, yeah, I bought a book and you signed it for me. I mean, she wouldn't remember.
I just haven't been able to see her. Like, I feel guilty and like I'm not being a good friend, and it weighs on me. It weighs on me heavily. Like, I have such incredible special memories of her that somehow I just don't want to see her. I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah, I don't want to remember her that way, the way she is now. I want to remember her, writing dirty poems about, masturbation and stuff. That's what I want to remember that.
She's still here, but everyone misses the old Dixie.
She's lost her intellectual capabilities and her ability to express herself, which has always been a big part of her through art and writing and conversation, but the part of her that gives and accepts love is still intact. So that part of our relationship is still intact, and that's really important, maybe the most important thing.
How has her diagnosis affected me? Well, at this point, it's just, it's like she's not there anymore. And even as an adult, up until COVID, basically, we didn't talk super regularly, but when we did talk on the phone, we had really long, meaningful conversations, and I still look to her for, advice and as a sounding board. And, um, that slipped away pretty quickly. I don't talk to her anymore on the phone because she wouldn't know what was going on.
I mean, it's been pretty devastating,
Yeah.
I'd have to say. I'd say, up until she kind of wasn't able to recognize me or know who I was, we still had a really solid relationship. We talked on the phone every week, sometimes multiple times a week, and really just stayed involved in each other's lives. Even as she was starting to lose her memory, I still call her all the time just to hear her voice. Um, and then when that kind of a shift happened, that she no longer remembered who I was. Um, it's gotten a lot harder. She still is able to recognize that I'm somebody that she loves and that loves her, and that's really sweet, but it's taken away those phone calls that I really took for granted for 30 years. I have the feeling that with the collection of all the people that you've spoken to and asked these questions to, that it's really evident that she's a pretty special, unique, and wonderful person who's touched a lot of people's lives. And I just feel really lucky that I got to be her daughter.
If she's in there, I imagine her meditating all the time in that clear mind existence as the rest of her reality drops away. That she has one clear light or bell sounding that she's following until she goes. I sing to her whenever I go and see her. And sometimes I'll sing one thing after another. And sometimes I'll sing the same thing over and over and over again, the same line. And sometimes Dixie will sing that line back to me. Instead of singing the song, "You Are My Sunshine," I would sing that same line over and over, and she would sometimes sing it back. And basically, it is a way into, for some reason, the old brain keeps that music and those songs longer than almost anything. And so if you have a chance, if you have time, pick up that songbook or remember the songs she sang to you when you were little and sing them back.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You remember that one?